Okay, this right here is the site of TCI's Edgewater coal mine, and this mine goes back to around 1910, and it was in service up into the mid-1960s, and it was a deep shaft coal mine that operated on the Pratt coal seam, and the Pratt coal seam was at different levels. So they first started developing this mine at 1910. The mine would eventually spread out over 6 miles during its length of service. And it was a full planned mining community by TCI, which by then, 1910, was a subsidiary of U.S. Steel. So over here, right back over there, was where the hoist frame for the shaft was. Right in this section right here would have been the hoist house. 1917, they built the biggest coal washer in the South, and through those trees up there is the remains of the Birmingham Southern Railroad. And back down this way would have been the air shaft, boiler plant. So you can't see anything because it's all grown up. There's nothing left. So further to the north is where the Bayview mine is. And in 1910, 1911, while they were working on developing the Edgewater shaft mine, TCI developed, they constructed what became the Bayview Lake. And they had to do that because the blast furnaces at Inslee and the later blast furnaces that would be located at Corey, which they changed the name to Fairfield, blast furnaces need a lot of water. So they constructed, in addition, while they were constructing the Edgewater shaft mine, they constructed the lake with the dam at Bayview to hold the water and channel through a series of long underground pipes that went up under, parallel with the Edgewater mine, to Inslee and Fairfield. And the pipeline system with a big reservoir was located just above Wylam. So this section right here is part of Camp Branch Creek. So you can see the remains of some little concrete bridge right there. But this is Camp Branch Creek, and further back was where they had the intake tunnel. And so the water coming out of Bayview Lake would be channeled down through here and go into an intake tunnel with a pumping station that they built that would go deep underground. And the pipeline ran for almost a mile to the south of this big central reservoir station just above Wylam. So right here you've got the remains of what was probably a little footbridge right here, because you had the mining camp, part of it was up here. This section all back here, everything was segregated back in those days, so up here in this section was the colored section. Further back down the road would be the white section, but this was a full-blown, complete mining camp with every necessity or need the mining families might need. But that's the remains of a little footbridge. And like I said, this is Camp Branch Creek, which flows from Bayview Lake. So they channeled this creek, took the existing creek and channeled it into when they built this intake tunnel. So a lot of information, man. A lot of stuff took place to build all this, and between 1910 and 1912. So I believe Edgewater, the mine came online around 1911 and employed like 300 to 400 people. And during the 1920s, 30s, which really was the height of production, they were pulling out 800 to 1,000,000 tons of coal a year, annually. So anyway, I'm just going to go down here a little bit to the side of where the commissary was. And, it's not going to be anything there, but just figured come out here and just film the location nonetheless. Okay, this section right here of Edgewater, if you're looking back, that would be where the main workings of the Edgewater shaft mine would be. The hoist frame, coal washer, boiler house, air shaft, all the central workings of the mine itself. And right here in this area, right here is where the commissary was. So there's a lot of good pictures of the Edgewater commissary. Just beyond that over there would be the bathhouse for the miners. And just beyond that over there would be where the central mine office was. So right here in this section was where the doctors and medical offices were, the dispensary. And back through all this over here, actually, baseball, intramural baseball was a huge thing in the Birmingham district with companies. And the company had built this huge ball field and pavilion right in this section. So this is where the baseball fields would be. And right over here in this section was where the soft drink stand and the pavilion would be. So, they spared no expense when they built this. So, and you can just see it's completely all overgrown right here. But this section right here is where the commissary was. Medical offices were, bathhouse, mine office. You had the boiler shops, the machine shops. Like I said, the Birmingham Southern Railroad, which terminated in Bayview. Just beyond those trees is the remains of the railbed. And of course, the rail line went all the way to Wylam, where it split off in a Y. One section went to the Inslee Works, and the other one went southwest to the Fairfield Works. So, but anyway, the mine had, I believe, 4 different air shafts. The first one, the manway entrance was back over just towards the, probably about 200 yards from here, for the miners. And further back below Sylvan Springs was the last one, last air shaft that was created. That is 6 miles, I believe, from this point right here. And in July 1948, I believe, is when they had an underground mine explosion. And I think it was on the 11th South, near the 11th South air shaft and escapeway. And a lot of the miners were able to get out. And I think 6 perished with multiple injured. But the air shaft is about, well, from here it's about 5 miles. And so they had multiple escapeways and air shafts. Actually, they had built an escapeway through a barrier pillar, if needed be. If anything happened in the workings to the north, they could actually get out through an escapeway pillar where the barrier pillar would actually be opened and the miners from Edgewater could escape into the Bayview mine. So they had it very well thought out. But anyway, like I said, there's nothing to see because when they closed this down, they eliminated everything. So all you got is just a lot of thick privet, low trees, thick underbrush, and you've still got some houses that remain, some of the original houses. So anyway, I may look at a couple more things, but just quick synopsis of Edgewater out here. Okay, so this is another view right here. We're on the northern edge of the workings of the Edgewater shaft mine right here. Just right up there past that fence, that's where the remains of the Birmingham Southern Rail bed is. Right here they had a spur line that broke off of it and went straight into the mine to the tipple and the coal washer. So the coal washer would have been right up here just above the base of where the hoist frame was for the shaft. The hoist house would have been right here, and just beyond the hoist house you had the powerhouse and boiler plant, which also supplied electricity to the Central Waterworks pumping station, which would have been right over here somewhere. And then beyond that you had the machine shops, the bathhouse, mine offices, commissary, medical offices in this direction right here. This is kind of looking to the east, northeast right here. So, but as far as I know, not going back and all that, there's probably some concrete foundation remains, if you could even find them. But other than that, when they closed this, like many of the other mines in the area that TC operated, they stripped them clean. They left no evidence that there was even a mine here. So, but anyway, to be continued. Okay, this swampy area looks like it looks like a swamp. This right here on either side of this road is backwater coming out of Camp Branch Creek, and also backwashing out of the central pumping station's intake tunnel that would have gone to Fairfield and Inslee. So you got the Bayview Lake, which is north up there. And so what you've got here, since the mine was closed, the pumps were shut off back in, when they actually shut this down, even though they shut the coal mine operations down at Edgewater in the mid-60s, they kept the blast furnaces at Inslee and Fairfield going, so they had to keep the central pumping station running to get the water coming out of Bayview Lake and Camp Branch Creek. So when all this was shut off, just my take on it is all that backwater, when they closed the furnaces, all that backwater has created this. So, because if you look at aerial photos from the 50s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, none of this existed. So this is the result of, when they shut everything down for the central water pumping station, I think this is the end result of what happened. And possibly all the mines are flooded. So a lot of this could actually be water coming up from the mines, mixing in with the central waterworks, tunnels and intake and pumping stations. So just a little video of this, trying to make an educated guess on that, but it seems to be this is the result of it. So All right.